Well, I know the answer, so I'm afraid to say.
Come on, go.
I don't want to blurt it out.
Who would you like to see?
Philly and Philly and a bad team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like Philly. I don't know.
All right, then I'll tell you.
Tell me.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go!
We will start the season on September 4th in Philadelphia with one of the great rivalries. It's been a quarter century since the Cowboys and the Eagles have played Week 1. Dallas, new coach in Brian Schottenheimer, Dak Prescott back against Jalen Hurts, 2,000-yard rusher Saquon Barkley, and the Philadelphia Eagles. What a way to start what begins the 20th year of Sunday Night Football.
That's Mike Tirico on the Today Show just moments ago. The first official game of the 272 to be played in 2025. Cowboys at the Eagles. One of the great rivalries. And look, we don't know how good or bad the Cowboys are going to be, but they'll be 0-0 in that game. It's a big game, and it's an opportunity for the Cowboys to really kind of set the tone. If they could go in there and smack the Eagles in the mouth to start the season, that just kind of changes the vibe.
Yeah,
in the NFC East.
By far the number one matchup we've had on Sunday Night Football in the 20 years of Sunday Night Football is the Eagles and the Cowboys.
You mean the total number of times
they've played. So, this is one where it's like you see it, and I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I was begging for Eagles Cowboys, right? Because we've seen it so much. But I do get it for Week 1. I do. It's the Cowboys. They're going to be going back, the unveiling of the banner. They haven't been doing an NFC Championship game in forever. And they're going to sit there and watch the Eagles go,
that makes it even better.
Hey, it's our second Super Bowl. It's our second Super Bowl in 7-8 years. How about that? Eat that crap, Dallas Cowboys, right? So that's where it's going to be great. The raucous crowd, of course, in Philadelphia. It's one of the best. That stadium special that way. And I think like what we talked about a little last week with the Cowboys, I think, are a little more talented than people are giving them credit for. And now with George Pickens, it does make it a little more interesting too. So that's where I can get I can totally support it and like it. And you're going to be watching Jerry, and it's all going to be fun.
The same dream generation synapses are already firing. We got to find Jerry on the field before the game.
Yeah.
And we got to get him to say it. We got to get him to say it.
You're right. Is this some glory hole?
We've got to get him to say it.
Yeah, we got to do that. You're right. We owe that to the Sunday Night Football crowd.
You've got all the great catchphrases in American TV history.
Right.
Did I do that? What you talking about, Willis? We got to get Jerry. Not on air.
Right.
We just got to get him to come on.
Just to say it for us. I would like it on air, too. I mean, why not? Let's go that way. But you can't go wrong with Eagles Cowboys. We know that'll be electric, and everybody tunes in to always see the Cowboys. And it's a big year. Schottenheimer taking over. Dak Prescott, the highest paid guy in football, and he's not near the top quarterback in football. No,
Josh Allen is, remember.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's hard.
The Micah Parsons, that contract, where's that
probably get done that day.
Right? It's the Eagles.
When did Dak's deal get done? It got done the day of the game last year.
You're right. The Eagles going to be going for a repeat. The Eagles, I think, the most talented, well-orchestrated football team of the century, going to be going at it again. So there's a lot of cool storylines here to be had, and it'll be fun being on the field for that one.
And that
pregame.
George Pickens trade.
Yeah, it adds some spice to it. Definitely. You
think they changed the schedule after that happened?
You
think they made a little last-minute AI?
When I was sitting there in the last week just thinking about what game we might get, right, I was most excited about maybe the Lions coming to town. I was kind of like, man, that would be cool. Because we thought we were going to see Lions-Eagles in the NFC Championship game last year. I think everybody thought that. The Lions, of course, had so many injuries on their football team, and the Commanders got hot and upset them and all. So I thought, oh, wow. If the Lions come into town, they're going to be pissed going, you stole our Super Bowl trophy. We would have beat your butts last year. You're just lucky we got hurt, all that. I think it would have got personal. I was kind of hoping for that one, but this will be personal too with an in-division rival and being Cowboys and Eagles.
There's a psychology and a strategy to formulating the schedule, and I know a lot of it is done electronically, and I assume they've got all sorts of high-level AI programs that are involved in generating millions of possibilities, but fundamentally, what you got to ask yourself is, in what spots do you want to use your best games? Because the Thursday night opener is going to get a big number no matter what. It could be the Eagles versus Temple, and it would be getting a big number.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are going to bring a big crowd, especially as they're 0-0.
Yeah, right. Start of the year.
If this is a year where the wheels really do come off, you want to get the Cowboys games early,
right?
Not late. But there are those spots, the captive audience spots, the big numbers where you can use a game that might not be, Rams coming. The Rams coming back, right? The Rams, the one team that gave the Eagles a tough time in the playoffs last year. But we're going to get Cowboys at Eagles anyway, and I think there's wisdom in using it early because there is. At first we were like, man, we thought it was going to be like a playoff rematch or, like a team on the rise, like the Broncos,
right.
bring them to town. But no. Traditional rivalry, Cowboys, George Pickens, healthy Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons coming back to the area not that far from where he played college football. I think that I kind of dig this.
You're more,
and the possibility of running into Jerry and hanging out with Jerry on the field.
Yeah, well, he might avoid us at all costs. He'll be like, they're over there.
He'll be very nice.
Yards away.
He'll be very nice.
But I hear you there, and where it looks like...
He gets it. He understands that when two guys give their entire freaking lives to promoting his product, he's grateful for it.
Yeah.
He's not resentful for it. He's not worried about the one word out of 1,000 that we say that he doesn't like. He's happy about the other 999, and he tolerates the 1,000.
I hope so. I hope he realizes sometimes we got to do a job, and we have talked about his contracts a lot, so that's where you always worry about there. But like.
As long as we're talking about him, he doesn't care.
Division rivals, by all due accounts, we think the next night's going to be division rivals with Chiefs-Chargers. That's the word of the street, right?
FrontOfficeSports.com reported it's going to be the Chargers and the Chiefs.
It's been a lot of people that think that in NFL circles. So I don't know. Is that going to be the theme of the weekend in Week 1? Is our Sunday night football game, our other game we'll have that weekend, is that going to be a division rivalry game as well? Is it going to be Vikings-Lions or Bears-Lions, something like that? I wouldn't be shocked if it went that way. Packers, Lions, something along those lines. Maybe that'll be the theme of the NFL opening weekend. It'll be division rivalries.
Well, they started some 15, 20 years ago loading up division games week 18. Maybe they're going to bookend it this year. It's going to be week 1, division rivalries, and week 18, it's going to be division rivalries. That wouldn't shock me, and we've got 2 games that we know of, one for sure, one that we're pretty sure of, division rivalries. 2 out of the 16 games are going to be played in week 1.
Yeah, no, this will be good. And of course, the Cowboys are going to be in fear. They're going to be like, oh gosh, we got the Eagles week 1. The Eagles are going to be, do we catch them slipping? Oh, it's the Cowboys. We kind of own them. Every game we kind of want to beat them in the last 4 or 5 years, we beat them. It's no big deal. And we're being distracted because we're hanging up the banner tonight, and the fans are going to be talking about that. Will they catch them sleeping a little bit? I don't know. The last time we did have the Cowboys on an opening night game, it was down there in Tampa against Brady after they won the Super Bowl, and it was a great football game. I will say that. And, that's the one thing you do love about the Cowboys and Jerry Jones and all that. They have great pride. They are going to hear everybody picking the Eagles, and they do believe, hey, we're the Cowboys. We can beat anybody anywhere. And because of that, I expect it to be a good game.
That was the night in September 2021 where they were talking about the heat and the humidity and the effect it has on the balls.
And swamp ass.
Looked in the camera.
And I went, do I want to say it?
And I said, he wants to say swamp ass. You had the swamp ass.
They were literally like right by me. I could
face.
see Brady just before that. He had a huge towel, and he made the center stick it down his pants so he could start warming up and the ball wouldn't be soaked. And then we have a segment on it, and I looked at it, and I thought of my boss, Sam Flood, and I went, you know what? I won't say swamp ass on
You would do it
NBC.
now. 4 years later, you would do it.
I feel like I would now, and I feel like it's actually like it's a football technical term now, where enough people understand it. But maybe I would do it now.
Well, if you say it enough,
it becomes a thing.
People are desensitized to
right.
it. Boy, I had a thought earlier. I have a prediction, and I hadn't mentioned this before. I think the Friday Week 1 game is here to stay, and I think in the years when the first Friday of the regular season lands on the second Friday in September, they're going to start the game at 3 o'clock like they do on Black Friday. Wow. I have a feeling it's here to stay. I don't know that, and I think it's just a matter of time before somebody asks the commissioner, but I think the Friday Week 1 is here to stay. In the years where it's the first Friday in September and the Sports Broadcasting Act,
people have Memorial Day week or Labor Day weekend and all that.
Well, right. If Labor Day weekend lands in a way that it doesn't consume a Friday.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then the first Friday in September is the first Friday of NFL season.
Yeah.
But and this year, for example, first Friday in September is the first Friday of football season. Next year, it won't be. And under the Sports Broadcasting Act, they can't have a night game.
Gotcha.
But they can play a game like they do on Black Friday, start it at 3, get off the air by 6. I have a feeling that Friday game is now going to be a fixture.
Wow. I hope so. I mean, it's a great way to start the weekend. I thought last year was really cool. The fact that we had 3 out of 4 days, the NFL football, the opener, the Chiefs-Ravens, that was an awesome football game. Eagles-Packers in Brazil was great. And then I can't even remember what we had on Sunday night to start last year. It was Detroit and the Rams, right? Lions-Rams.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to start it, and I hope the Friday game is here to stay.
Well, the Eagles are here to stay as a force in the NFL. And, one thing that's crazy about this, the schedule is going to be out. And then the big news next week is going to be what do they do about the tush push?
Yeah.
So the first game of the season, and Jerry Jones has already joked that maybe they'll be able to do it now with Tyler
All the
Booker,
big dudes they got, right?
and Tyler Smith.
Yes, right.
And
They got some
he said
killers up
something.
front.
He said something during the draft that maybe he's going to revisit his position on whether or not he's against it.
Well, it'll be interesting. They've done some nice adjustments to their football team. Now let's just see, how good they can be. They got some young talent on the defensive side. We've talked about that. The offense, the line is getting there. Between the Giants D-line, the Commanders, and the Eagles, that's 6 games a year. They got to play against some special D-lines there, so they better be ready in that department. And they got some weapons on the outside for Dak Prescott and throwing the football down the field. Now, their running back room, we're going to see. We're going to see if anybody there is worth a damn and can be really a difference maker for their football team. But, they pose some problems, and I think there is a little more talent there on this Dallas team than people realize. The problem is it's the Eagles, and the Eagles are an all-star team, and there's not a weakness to their team. And like we saw last year, even in the playoffs, they could play B- football and still win 2 playoff games. That's what they did. They didn't really play that great against the Packers in the wild card round, right? So that's why I want to, because I get that a lot now, and I get a lot of that everywhere I go from an Eagles fan. Is Jalen Hurts going to be a top 5 quarterback now? And I want to go, wait, all you guys are in my mentions, wild card and divisional week, going, Jalen Hurts is the problem with the team. And then all of a sudden, we win a Super Bowl and we go, he's top 5. So somewhere that's got to mesh together there. But that's how awesome they are as a team, is that they are so good, they can beat you so many ways. And like we talked about, they play a simple way of football. But because they're so big up front, because they got those receivers outside, because of the way Jalen and Saquon play off each other in the run game, man, they're tough to defend. And I mean, it's hard for me to think about how we have to pick like Super Bowl winners and do all that, to sit here at this time of the year and not pick the Eagles right now and just go, yeah, if you make me pick, I'm taking the Eagles.
There's always going to be some carryover from the defending champion unless they're dismantled completely in the offseason.
Right.
There have been years where it's like, okay, they're
you
not,
knew it. Right.
But it feels like there's enough continuity. Yes, they're breaking in new offensive coordinator and other members of the offensive staff, but that's it. The players are back. The key players are back.
Right.
It feels like the rich get richer.
It does.
Or the richer get rich. I think that's what Jihad Campbell said in his Simsism on the night he was drafted.
Like
richer get rich.